Hey guys, Robbie Couch here. Thanks for tuning in to an all-new week in review. Let's just cut straight to the chase. The first thing I want to talk about today is how freaking cold it is across the entire United States of America, basically. I'm in Chicago right now, and Chicagoans are used to the cold. Like, we're used to being cold November through March, but this stuff is like next level insanity. I was watching news reports where they literally had to like put fire on the tracks of our train system so that the trains wouldn't freeze as they like fly through the city. Like, what kind of apocalyptic crazy stuff is this? So this week was absolutely insane weather-wise across the Midwest. Here in Chicago, temperatures were like anywhere from -20 to -30 up to like, or down to -50. I don't even know. All I know is that it's so cold that I can't physically walk outside. Like, it's dangerously, dangerously cold. It was so cold that I even tried to do that boiling water experiment that you guys probably have seen online. They go viral sometimes, where you boil a pot of water and you throw it outside and you watch the like droplets crystallize in thin air before they land. Yeah, I tried it. Take a look. Yeah, it was nuts. I can't believe, I don't even know. The reason why I'm not a scientist is because I have no idea what was happening there. But yeah, it freaked me out. It's that cold. Probably the most annoying thing about how cold it is in Chicago is the fact that now we have all these climate deniers, including the President of the United States, using this cold to try to justify the fact that climate change isn't real, which of course is absolutely asinine. The President of the United States a few days ago tweeted this. In the beautiful Midwest, wind chill temperatures are reaching -60 degrees, the coldest ever recorded. In coming days, expected to get even colder. People can't last outside even for minutes. What the hell is going on with global warming? Please come back fast. We need you, global warming. And also, I just realized that the president spelled global warming with no R in warming, so it's global waming. And that's President Trump in a nutshell. The crazy thing is, this sort of weather is exactly what climate scientists say can be attributed to climate change. Climate change is all about extreme weather and extreme weather events. It's not necessarily the whole world getting warmer all of the time. Just a few days ago, when Chicago was getting hit with that extreme weather, the New York Times reported, emerging research suggests that a warming Arctic is causing changes in the jet stream and pushing polar air down to latitudes that are unaccustomed to them and often unprepared. Hence this week's atypical chill over large swaths of the Northeast and Midwest. So scientists are telling us that this insane weather can actually be attributed to climate change. It doesn't rebuke climate change, it actually backs up climate scientists who are saying, yeah, the world as a whole is getting warmer and we need to take it seriously. The second thing I want to talk about today is the fact that Howard Schultz announced that he's running for president. And I'm not happy about it. Howard Schultz was the CEO of Starbucks for a while, and then he stepped down from his position in 2017, and that kind of sparked rumors if he was going to run for president. Is he going to run as a Democrat or an independent? Like, what is he doing? But earlier this week, he announced that he is running as an independent, and I am pissed. So I've decided that I am not going to be drinking Starbucks coffee until he A, steps down and quits the race, or B, loses the race, because I'm not going to support that guy. In fact, I was at the grocery store yesterday, and I went and bought iced coffee from a competitor. I never buy coffee, ever buy coffee at a grocery store. I never do it. Delicious. It's basically cream and sugar. And yeah, I'm gonna be drinking this until you drop out of the race, Howard. So a lot of Democrats are kind of pissed off at Howard Schultz right now because the thinking goes, if he enters the race, there's a really good chance that he'll split the anti-Trump vote, which would very much benefit President Trump. And I'm really irked by Howard Schultz, to be honest, because he's trying to play like the moderate, level-headed, fiscally responsible guy in the middle that represents most of Americans who feel ostracized by the two parties. But in actuality, he's just this billionaire who woke up and was like, yeah, I'm gonna run for president. He really pissed me off when he went on The View, and Meghan McCain, who I'm not a fan of Meghan McCain, pointed out, you have to be a billionaire to run as an independent. And in response to that, Howard Schultz, in a very condescending way, said,
you can't buy the presidency. The American people are going to decide. But let me just make one point. No.
Howard, just shut up, for real, dude. The third thing I want to talk about today is Jussie Smollett. So if you guys didn't hear the news, Jussie Smollett, who is an actor who works on Empire and is really beloved by so many people because he does philanthropic work in the social justice space and he does a lot of work helping LGBTQ charities and nonprofits, he was assaulted in Chicago at like 2 a.m. Some guys who chanted like, "This is MAGA country" or "Make America Great Again," assaulted him. They put a noose around his neck, poured bleach on him, and yeah, it's just one of these stories that you're like, how is this happening? It's wild. The event happened here in Chicago. I live in Chicago, so I think it especially kind of hit hard for me because I was looking online and I was seeing a lot of people in the LGBTQ community here in Chicago, and especially queer people of color here in Chicago, and saying how they felt about the issue. And it was so scary and eye-opening to think that, you know, this hits so close to home, especially if you're a person of color, especially if you're even further marginalized within our community. So I live in a neighborhood that's just slightly north of Boys Town, and Boys Town is kind of considered the gay neighborhood of Chicago's north side. So it was kind of a wake-up call for me living in Boys Town, because it was like, no, there's such a big world out there, and there's so many people who are not accepting of queer people of color, and it was sort of a slap in the face from reality. It was a reality check. It's also really troubling to consider the fact that recent data trends point to the fact that anti-LGBTQ violence is actually on the rise, and it has been for a few years. And a lot of Americans kind of just think that, well, as time goes on, everyone's getting more inclusive and accepting of the LGBTQ community. And in many ways that's true, but in many ways it's not. I think with this presidency, with this administration, and with Republicans holding a lot of power in Washington, there's still a lot of bigotry happening in Washington and affecting our country and our culture from the top down. I mean, it's no coincidence that these guys were talking about making America great again as they did these horrific things to him. It's just upsetting that a lot of the times this doesn't make national news because these people aren't celebrities, these people aren't on TV shows. But it shouldn't take away from the fact that it's happening and it's horrific, and we need to stay vigilant and stomp out hate when we see it. The fourth thing I want to talk about is Ted Bundy being hot, I guess? I don't know. To be more specific, Zac Efron playing Ted Bundy in a movie is hot, which isn't that great. So there's a new movie that Zac Efron is starring in as Ted Bundy, the horrific serial murderer from the 1970s. It's called Extremely Wicked, Shockingly Evil, and Vile, which is an extremely long movie title that should be a lot shorter. And it premiered at Sundance a few days ago, and a lot of people were really bothered by the way that Zac Efron was portraying Ted Bundy because it was very sexualized, and like Zac Efron was shirtless in the trailer and like overly charismatic, and it made a lot of people uncomfortable. I was uncomfortable watching the trailer. Like, I knew what to expect, and still watching it, it was like creepy, like my stomach was kind of churning. A lot of people, including the families of the victims of Ted Bundy, were really turned off by this. They think it was inappropriate the way that it characterizes Ted Bundy via Zac Efron, and I can totally see why. But watching the trailer also got me thinking about the fact that there's a lot of TV shows and a lot of films that have been kind of similar in the way that they've glorified murder or had like the very hot guy that you feel like is very attractive and you kind of empathize with him in some ways, but then he's like gross and horrific and does these terrible, terrible things to women and to other people. And I think about the fact that I've watched these shows and I like these shows, and then I'm like, do I need to change my viewing habits? Like, I've watched American Crime Story. There's a new series on Netflix called You, which is like Penn Badgley basically stalking this woman. And I don't want to give any spoilers, but it's like, it's making me rethink, like, should I be more cognizant of this sort of media? And is it okay to watch this media that glorifies murder and portrays men in that sexy way? So I would love to hear from you guys on this. Please watch the trailer for the movie. Again, it's called Extremely Wicked, Shockingly Evil, and Vile. Watch the trailer. Let me know what you think. Let me know if you're kind of disgusted by it too, if I'm overthinking it, if I'm being too sensitive, if you agree with me, because I'm trying to kind of parse through if I should see this movie or not. And the fifth thing I want to talk about today is the fact that I'm moving to Denver, and I'm really, really excited about it. So as I've mentioned probably like 10 times already on this video, I live in Chicago, which is freezing cold right now, but at the end of this week, I'm actually taking off, packing up, and moving to Denver, Colorado, and I'm really, really stoked. I've never lived near the mountain. So I've been to Denver a few times the past few months, looking for apartments, doing work stuff, but I am still really Denver ignorant. Like, what neighborhoods are fun? Where is cool stuff to do things? Are there any awesome restaurants or museums that I should check out? Please let me know in the comments or tweet at me. Let me know what should be on my Denver bucket list, because I'm really stoked to be like exploring this new city, but I have no idea where to start. Thank you guys so much for tuning in to this week's Week in Review. Don't forget that on Tuesday I'll have a brand new Views from the Couch. And this is the last Week in Review that I'll be in this apartment, which is something I'm just realizing, and I'm kind of nostalgic and sad about it. Even though I just started Week in Reviews, it's still kind of sad. So next week, you'll see me in my brand new apartment, hopefully, if all goes well. And yeah, I'm jazzed. All right, you guys, have a good weekend. I'll see you next week.